History remembers the glory of empires, the flags, the ships, the so-called civilization. But behind the gold and the power lies a much darker truth, a world written through pain, greed, and control. This isn't just the story of conquest, it's the story of how colonization shaped the modern world, and how it continues to define it today. It all began with the Age of Exploration, as European empires set sail into the unknown. What started as a quest for new trade routes and knowledge quickly morphed into something far more sinister: conquest. Nations like Portugal, Spain, Britain, France, and the Netherlands were no longer just exploring. They were competing for total domination. Entire continents became their battlegrounds. They justified their actions through the guise of religion, claiming a divine mission to spread faith and bring civilization to lesser peoples. But in truth, they were spreading control. Priests blessed soldiers as they boarded ships, but the real cargo was greed. They weren't just building empires, they were building systems of exploitation that would span the globe. The colonizers didn't see the world as a tapestry of diverse cultures to learn from, but as a treasure chest of resources to plunder. Africa, Asia, and the Americas became vast open mines for gold, spices, rubber, and most tragically, human lives. Millions of people were captured, enslaved, and shipped across oceans in unimaginably brutal conditions. Families were torn apart, communities destroyed, all in the name of imperial profit. While the colonies bled, the empires grew impossibly rich. The grand boulevards of Paris and the glittering skylines of London were financed by the suffering of millions. These magnificent cities were, quite literally, built on the backs of the broken and the profits of plunder. The stark contrast between the lavish lifestyles of European aristocrats and the grueling labor of those they colonized tells a story of profound injustice. But colonization didn't just steal land and resources, it sought to steal identity itself. Across the globe, indigenous languages were banned, ancient traditions were forbidden, and sacred rituals were branded as pagan and savage. Children were torn from their families and forced into missionary schools, where they were taught to forget their heritage and worship the very people who had oppressed them. The empires propagated a powerful myth that to be civilized meant to abandon your own culture and adopt theirs. They called it progress, a benevolent gift of enlightenment. But this so-called civilization was nothing more than a tool of control, a justification for erasing entire histories and replacing them with a narrative that served only the conqueror. What was lost can never be fully recovered. Of course, colonization was often sold as a beacon of progress. Apologists point to the railroads, the schools, and the new systems of government that were introduced. But these systems were never built for the benefit of the local populations. They were designed for one primary purpose: extraction. The railroads didn't connect communities. They connected resource-rich interiors to colonial ports. Every supposed gift of civilization came with a heavy chain attached, binding the colonized to their masters. Even after the flags of empire were lowered and nations declared their independence, the shackles remained. Many newly freed countries found themselves trapped in economic and political systems designed to benefit their former rulers. Freedom had been declared on paper, but in reality, the ghost of the empire still lingered, its shadow stretching over modern cities and political chambers, ensuring the old power dynamics remained firmly in place. Today, the echoes of colonization are everywhere, even if we don't always see them. The arbitrary borders drawn by European diplomats a century ago continue to fuel ethnic conflicts that rage to this day. A global economic system still sees resources flowing disproportionately from the global south to the global north. The poverty in one part of the world is inextricably linked to the luxury enjoyed in another. The empires may have officially fallen, but their structures of power have simply evolved, adapting to our modern, interconnected world. Colonization didn't end, it just changed its name. To truly understand the world we live in, we must confront its darkest chapters. The legacy of colonization is not a distant, dusty relic of history. It is the very blueprint of our present reality. It shapes our economies, our politics, and our identities. Only when we face this difficult truth, without flinching, can we begin to imagine and build a more just future together. If this story opened your eyes, subscribe to uncover the untold truths that shaped our world. History isn't dead, it's still happening.